mom, you know how important that is. If you're about to be a mom, listen up. It is very important. So we have Dr. Alan Greene here, and we have Chef Maria, and we have Catherine McCord. We're very lucky to have these three experts. They are nationally recognized, very famous in their field. So I'm going to let you guys take it away and be thinking of great questions for the end, and there will be another raffle.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Can you guys hear me okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for being here. This is really exciting for me and to be in the midst of such amazing wealth of knowledge here. I'm Chef Maria with ABC's Recipe Rehab. Hopefully you guys have seen the show. We take family recipes and make them healthy, but still delicious and easy to prepare. And I also have a website called eatcleaner.com and just recently published a book called The Clean Eating Handbook. But enough about me. I want to talk about Catherine here, the lovely lady on my left. Catherine McCord is all about making a difference in the kitchen, which, let me tell you, food is life, and dialing your food in will not only make you happy and healthy, it will keep you sane. I can say that from experience. She launched Weelicious in 2007, and she's the mom of 2 kids, Kenya and Chloe, such cute names. And she created Weelicious as a platform to show parents really how easy and how just delicious homemade food could be for your family. Weelicious houses over 700 original recipes that are practical, and she offers a wealth of information on her website. And of course she's developed an international audience. I mean, come on. She's also the author of Weelicious, One Family, One Meal, and she really started that as an inspirational feeding guide. And now she's ready to publish another book coming out in summer of 2013 called Weelicious Lunches. So please check out her books, and please welcome Catherine McCord. And on my right, I have Dr. Alan Greene. And in 1995, Dr. Greene founded drgreene.com, cited by the AMA, which is the American Medical Association, as the pioneer physician website. I mean, if that's not kudos, I don't know what is. He's the founder of the Whiteout Now movement, aimed at changing how babies are fed from the very first bite of solid food. And he's also the founder of TikTok, transitioning immediate cord clamping to optimal cord clamping. He's also the author of several books, including Feeding Baby Greene, and appears frequently in the media. You've probably seen him. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Today Show, GMA, Dr. Oz. I mean, he's the guy. And he's also a practicing pediatrician right now. He actually sees patients, which is amazing. And is the father of 4, is a dear friend of P.A.M. And you can find out a lot more about Dr. Greene on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/drgreene.com. So please welcome Dr. Alan Greene. So I'm really excited about today because talking about nourishing yourself, moms, and doing that before you ever even think about getting pregnant, through your pregnancy and after pregnancy, is just so vital. So we want to dive into, we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition during your pregnancy, but more about before and after, because I think people kind of tend to forget those. As you're getting ready to have a healthy pregnancy, getting your body ready is of utmost importance. And then afterwards, making sure you're not depriving yourself of those vital nutrients is also critical. So we're going to dive in with some questions, and then we'll leave some time at the end for some Q&A. So start thinking of your questions now so we can get the most out of this. So I want to start with the first thing. Just let's dive into it. The most important nutrition tip that you could offer before you get pregnant. What would that one tip be? Catherine?
I would say something like happiness, even going beyond nutrition, because I think that you have that overall, happy feeling inside. That is going to be you're growing a baby, so that's obviously really important. But even before you're getting pregnant, knowing that your body is a vessel that's going to be passing nutrients to your baby. So hopefully, really sort of taking even food diary. Like if you start every day looking at what you're eating, I mean, so most of us, I'm sure, would be like, that cheeseburger can't be that good for the baby. But really just taking a list of what you're eating, what's going to be going into your body, your baby's body.
Yeah, I think that food journal idea is a great idea. You really aren't cognizant until you start writing it down. Go, maybe those ding dongs weren't such a great idea. Dr. Greene?
Yeah, I love that idea too. The moment you first see your baby, when you look at your baby, everything you see has been built from food. And it's food that you've eaten. And it's food that you eat during pregnancy, but also about the 3 months or so before. So when you're thinking about having a baby, start thinking about what do I want to build my child out of. Choose foods that way.
Yeah, really, that's great. The building blocks of what you are is what your baby will become. And on that note, I personally have this question. Knowing that omega-3s are so important prior to getting pregnant and really building that, all of those great nutrients, what do you do if you are vegan or vegetarian? How do you get sound sources of omega-3s aside from fatty fish like salmon and mackerel into your diet?
Well, luckily for the omega-3s, they're not the only foods. Walnuts, flax seeds, you have the omega-3 fatty acid oil that you can drizzle on your salad. But those are the really important building blocks for building a baby with strong brain and for your own body.
Yeah, omega-3s are healthy fats that are particularly important, more important during pregnancy than any other time of life, because they really are major building blocks in the baby's brain. They're pumped across the placenta at really high levels to build the brain. And there's a whole bunch of different ones. One of the ones you hear about the most is called DHA, and that's because it's the main one that goes into building the baby. And that's something you would find like in wild salmon or in seafood or other good places to find it. One of the nice things is that a lot of women can convert one omega-3 to another in their own bodies to prepare for the baby. So walnuts and flaxseed, I love chia seeds, are great for cooking with really high omega-3s. Those things can get some, and you can convert it to the DHA that you need. Many women can. But this is one time I would pay attention to the body. When my wife was pregnant with our youngest son, she had intense seafood cravings, and she was not eating seafood at the time. She was a very strongly vegetarian, but I very much believe it was her body craving that she needed more of that nutrient at that time in her life. So, yeah, eat clean, but don't be as set on the way you think you want to eat. What you want is what's best for your baby.
I think that's really important. I always say that like kids eat what they need. We eat because we're mentally hungry. We see it, we want it. Kids just eat. So I think it's important, like when you're pregnant, like really it's the time to be listening to your body. Like when I was pregnant, I wanted stir-fried vegetables for breakfast almost every day. Why? I guess the salt or the nutrients from the vegetables, but like listening to your body and allowing, your body is going to tell you what you need often.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought, because we get into this mode of thinking, well, I only eat this or I don't eat that, but being open to options. When I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now almost 12, wow, I just had this insatiable craving for red meat. And I'm not a red meat eater, which is really, I was like, where's this coming from? I want like a huge steak. And you know what, that was okay. I needed the iron, I needed, just feeling that, I had that craving basically, and I listened to it. And it changes, I find, from pregnancy to pregnancy. I don't know if you experienced that too.
Oh my God, one was completely different than the other. And, but also fighting those, women don't need thousands of calories extra. It's in the first trimester, I'm sure you can, it's about the same. Like,
Yeah,
it's
approximately
normal,
the same. Right?
yeah, and then just adding 500 calories in the third trimester. So, and knowing that those 500 calories aren't necessarily, coming from the pizza buffet or from the ice cream sundae, but might be, a good handful of nuts or something like that with like good fats, good vitamins.
Yeah,
But it's hard. Cut yourself some slack at the same time. You have the ice cream sundae once in a while.
So So there's a vendor here, Nordic Naturals, that also makes a great source of vegan and vegetarian DHA and omega-3 supplements that you might want to check out too while you're here. So folic acid, we hear about folic acid being so important. Dr. Greene, what do you think about folic acid and getting natural sources of that through your food?
Yeah, there's a bunch of nutrients that their needs go way up during pregnancy. Protein is one. A pregnant woman needs more protein than any guy ever needs because you're building a baby inside. Iron is another one that goes up a lot because you're building the whole blood supply of the baby. So it's no wonder you're having the craving. And folic acid goes way up. There's several of them too. With each of those, I think it's partly to draw us towards certain foods. And not specifically the vitamins. The prenatal vitamins are a great safety net, but when you find folate in nature, there's thousands of other compounds with it that I think are also really important. We just haven't learned about yet. So the natural sources are great. The primary food sources, folate, think of foliage. It's the dark green leafy vegetables are really high. And then also, it is especially high in beans. Lentils and pinto beans are really high. Great sources of it. You can find folate in lots of foods, though. If you're eating produce, you're likely to end up getting it. There's some in raspberries and some in strawberries and some in all kinds of avocado, all kinds of things.
I think it's important when you're pregnant also to take stock of what you're eating in this sort of like, even with my kids, I always do a mental diary for them where I'm like, have they had a fruit, a vegetable, a carbohydrate, and a protein? Like every day, you know? And I think that when you're pregnant, it's that same sort of thing where you want to make sure that you're having balance, that you're not just eating carbs or just eating protein, because that balance is going to help, you know, within giving you plenty of energy as well.
You know, and on that note, I mean, as you're thinking about, I mean, obviously eating clean is something that we should probably all do on a regular basis, but if you are planning on getting pregnant, when do you feel like you really have to dial that in, you know? And knowing that obviously we're going to cut ourselves some slack every once in a while, but when do you need to start really focusing on getting yourself prepared?
So a couple things. About half the babies in this country are surprises. So you don't know when it's going to be. So it's not a bad idea to be prepared when you might get pregnant, even though you're not planning on it. It's also important to remember that babies are remarkably forgiving. You know, people in our country don't always get nutrition right. In fact, the last several decades, it's been so over-processed and over-flooded with chemicals that you would think that the health might be horrible. And there are some problems that have come from that. But overall, the lifespan is the highest that it's been. So, you know, kind of relax. Don't worry that it's some disaster that's going to be there. On the other hand, that if you can, in the 3 months or so before conceiving, get rid of the chemicals and get rid of the over-processed food and start eating a variety of whole foods, it tilts the odds in your baby's favor even more than they are already. It's a great thing to do. And fun and delicious.
Yeah. I love the foliage analogy too. Foliage. Good thing to remember. It's awesome. So let's talk about fish because you know, there are a lot of great vitamins and nutrients that come from wild fish, but we also hear about being high in mercury, and especially as you're pregnant, something that you obviously want to watch. Do you have any recommendations on what fish to steer clear of, both before you get pregnant and during your pregnancy?
Well, my favorite thing is actually to get one of the little Shoppers hand guides, wallet guides, that list all the fish you just look at very quickly. And there's certain things like swordfish and mackerel, you just don't want to do it. I don't even like white tuna during pregnancy. But the National NRDC, if you just look at their website, has a little pocket guide. It lists all the fish by mercury content and also other health issues related to them. And there's so many good fish, and a handful that you do want to be careful.
And there's also even on my phone, I have the Monterey Bay Aquarium has their list, and it's just an app that you can get. And that way you just look up, you know, if you're in a restaurant, you're like, it's on the menu, and you're like, whitefish, what's that? Is that okay? And it tells you, like, at risk or not, you know, this is a really solid choice. And even my husband and I had an ongoing fight, because I love seafood, about shrimp. Because shrimp are really high in protein, but they're also like mussels and clams and shrimp are bottom feeders. so that, they're picking up the bottom of the ocean. And I mean, I think I did more research on shrimp because I, as a pregnant woman, was like, I want shrimp so bad. We have a barter system where I can have it like once every 2 weeks or something. I think it's important to also ask your OB or your doctor or your midwife, what their feelings are, and then just in general moderation.
Yeah. And that's the thing I actually do like about the NRDC is it does say for shrimp every 3 weeks.
Yes.
Is how much would be reasonable. The other tip. The other tip about seafood and toxins in general, heavy metals that you've had throughout your entire life end up getting stored in your bones. It's your body's way of keeping them in a spot that they're not going to cause much problems. But if you're not getting enough calcium during pregnancy or nursing, then your bones remodel a bunch and some can come out. So one of the best things you can do to protect against the mercury and lead and other things like that is make sure and get at least 1,200 milligrams a day of calcium during pregnancy and nursing.
I'm going to ask you this question because it's always interesting. Talking about taking supplements in pregnancy, how do you feel about eating the real food? Let's just talk about the calcium.
Yeah.
Taking a calcium pill versus having a calcium-rich food.
I far prefer the real food in every case if you can do it. But if it's not happening, I think that is a nice backup.
And so with that, because that's a great question, what are the best sources of calcium that you can get, and how often should you be eating that, even before you think about conceiving?
Well, it depends what things that you're eating in the diet. If you're doing dairy, then I recommend organic dairy if you're going to do dairy for a variety of reasons. But that has about 300 milligrams per glass. So that's one way to do it. When it comes to calorie per calorie, you actually get more in green leafy vegetables. And when you think of all the stuff that goes up really highly, spinach is like a superfood.
Yeah, and that's what I did when I was pregnant and after I had both of my kids. I would build myself I won't say 64 ounce, but it was pretty darn big, smoothie every day. And I would stuff spinach in it, and I would stuff either rice milk, banana, nuts, and I would just have this mega smoothie. And I found that it kept my energy because I was always so tired and I don't know, maybe a little emotional or whatever, but I knew that if I got this mega smoothie first thing in the morning, especially when I was nursing, you know that you get everything that you need from the start of the day, and it fills you up so you don't have that dysregulation, like little kids get dysregulated. I'm sure a lot of pregnant women would say you can get dysregulated really easy.
Oh yeah, no, we've never experienced that. Never. So we've talked a lot about the pre, a little bit about the during. Let's talk about the post, because I think it's just so easy, for us moms that have had a baby, that have been through that period where it's all about nourishing and caring for your baby, that it's easy to forget yourself, when that's probably the worst thing that we can do, because if we're not available for them, we're moody, we're tired, we're cranky, we're not going to be very productive. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about milk production. I have a thought about this, but I want to ask, what is the best thing that you can do to make sure that your milk production is up? Because I had a lot of problems with that.
I'm very curious your thought, but there's several things. So in many ways, just getting plenty to drink, it doesn't need to be milk coming in because milk's coming out, just plenty to drink. Enough calories so that you have enough you're creating 500 calories a day about in milk, so you want to have enough for that. And as much rest as you can get. Those things together are some of the most powerful things for milk production, along with just the supply and demand of the baby. They're intended to be really hungry the first few days before the milk comes out. That helps stimulate milk production a lot. There are a few foods that have been studied that have some benefit probably in increasing milk production. A lot of those aren't used as much in American cooking or traditional cultures around the world. But fenugreek seeds are used in some places in a very strong way that's been studied and shown to be true to increase milk production.
I can attest to that because that's what my parents gave me when I had my first baby. It was fenugreek tea. Tasted.
I still drink to this day a cup of mother's nursing tea every day.
There you go.
it's really weird, but at the same time, I became addicted to the taste and drinking it, like you said, like having that liquid. I used to make iced tea out of it.
Yeah.
And just, I think that it's really important when you're, after you have your baby, that you keep things like that, your favorite, whatever that drink is, that good tasting drink, like pictures of it, and your favorite foods. What's the list of nutritious foods? Because when you're a new mom, the last thing you want to do is go to the grocery. I mean, you're hopefully lucky enough to have someone that'll cook for you. So if it's like, if you love yogurt, if you love smoothies, just be as stocked up on those ingredients so you have no excuse where you're like, I'm too tired to cook, or I can't make myself something. Like, easy to prepare foods that are really nutritious.
Yeah, that's a great point. I want to dive into preparation. I just have one, I want to just kind of reiterate what Dr. Greene said too about hydration, about getting enough calories in, and making those calories count. Because I think we have a tendency, okay, I'm just going to say it, we want our pre-baby bodies back, okay? But the problem is that when you nurse, if you don't have enough energy available, you're not going to produce enough milk. So there's a really, I want to talk about dieting. Should we diet really after we have the baby? And I'm going to couch that in, I know what the answer is, but I want to just dive into that a little bit deeper because that mindset is so prevalent,
Yeah, the mindset is really prevalent, but the reality is your body needs to repair, and you need to be there for the baby. So calorie restriction is not the way to do it. So any kind of diet, eating great food, which does help the weight come off more quickly. Because our bodies are built to deal with foods that have been eaten for hundreds and thousands of years, not the super processed stuff. So going for produce, going for whole grains and fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, that's great. But not to try and diet.
I found it to be an interesting cycle where, it's like this, mental game, but I actually found the more that I ate, the more milk I produced, the more my baby was happy, and do you know what I mean about this cycle? Like, if you don't eat, you're going to be a wreck because if you want to nurse and you can't nurse. So I think that it's like, you get to eat plenty of nutritious calories, your baby's going to be fed because you're going to be producing lots of milk, and you will see naturally the weight will come off of your body. And plenty of exercise. I mean, strollers are the greatest things ever because I used to wear a carrier and carry my son and go on huge hikes, and it was like a great bonding experience. I got to wear him, and I was getting exercise. I would try to get a friend to go with me, so it was like I was finally getting to catch up with my friends. So, trying to turn everything you can into a win-win, and especially this is the time to ask your friends to make soups. Like, is there any chance you can make a big vat of soup in your crock pot or whatever, and ask people so you can freeze it, so you have a nutritious meal that's plenty of liquid with plenty of good foods. This is the time to build your village around you, the few people that will help you out.
Or if you want to find more people, I just ran into Lisa Druxman here from Stroller Strides, which is sort of pop-up groups of new moms who are out there doing walks together with strollers.
Stroller Strides is awesome. It's awesome. And about eating frequently, let's talk about that a little bit because you want to get the right foods in, but you need to eat frequently. I mean, I think we have this mindset of 3 meals a day, and when you are feeding another human being, I mean, even just on a normal day-to-day basis, I know in our world, we recommend eating every 3 to 4 hours. How do you do that? How do you prepare for eating every 3 to 4 hours and not have it be a chore?
I think that's what I mean though. Keeping foods like oatmeal should be your best friend because it's a really good carbohydrate, it's nourishing, and it takes 2 seconds to prepare. The same thing with yogurt. I mean, you squeeze in honey, flax seeds, walnuts, berries, like just fresh berries in it. Just foods that are like really simple, but just like nutrient dense. That also, this is the other thing for women. Like I had a lot of digestive eating foods that are easier to digest because your body is going through like all these like changes and challenges. So if salads aren't going to be, because the salads are really nutritious, but they can be hard to digest, try stir fry because they're going to be just easier to enjoy.
And interestingly, your body adjusts to sort of help with all those changes. So in the first trimester, for most women, everything smells more intense than it does. And the taste buds, the bitter notes are really dialed up. So things you used to like, you might have aversions to. And there's often morning sickness. And your body tends to, and I think all those things are to help protect the baby and push a reset button to help you change old habits of eating and start fresh in a new way. And most people find that the morning sickness gets better if they never let their stomach get all the way empty, and if they never let it get all the way full either, to eat a little bit throughout the day, last thing at night, first thing in the morning. And that helps get you in that pattern. And then just parenthetically, ginger and peppermint are two of the best things to treat that. And I think that's not an accident either, because they're both really powerful in with antimicrobial properties and helping to boost the immune system. So you're doing it because you don't feel good, but you're also really helping your baby.
Yeah.
So,
One of our favorite things at home is ginger lemon honey tea. Just fresh ginger, lemon, honey. You got a cold, your kid's got a cold when my son is giving me the thumbs up because he loves it. Things like that. And again, a liquid. So it's just,
which is a great way to do it. But you can also just grate some fresh ginger on some rice. So it goes down really easily. It tastes good. It doesn't take much ginger.
Love fresh ginger. That's always a staple in my household. Love it. So 500 calories. I mean, it seems like a lot, but it's really not.
Right.
But it's got to be the good calories. It's got to be, get snacks like nuts. I love brown rice cakes. I stocked up on the brown rice cakes, and I would do nut butter with a little drizzle of honey. That's like a great snack, and it's the perfect, carb, essential fat, good quality
and keep
protein.
things in your purse. Like if it's a bar, like just keep it in your purse because you'll have those your blood sugar goes down, and it's just not good for anyone around you or yourself.
So the operative word here is eat. Okay? All right, so let's talk a little bit about allergens. This is kind of an interesting subject because I feel like nowadays everybody's allergic to everything. We've got gluten intolerance, we have dairy issues, we have nut allergies. Is what you eat during your pregnancy, does that have any impact? And how can you minimize allergens to your baby? So that you keep that in perspective also.
So food allergies in general are increasing. It started about in 1996. It started going up pretty quickly, doubling about every 5 years. So it's going up very fast. And there are some things that you eat during pregnancy that make a difference. And also chemical exposures. Just being exposed to tobacco smoke during pregnancy or during nursing increases the allergy risk. It's an irritant and it's easier for the food molecules to form a reaction against. The things to avoid, though, there's not been any food proven to avoid during pregnancy or nursing to reduce allergies. My hunch is that genetically modified proteins are probably smart to avoid because that's not proven.